Karibuni sana to Adventure Friday with me, Margaret Mwangi, and today we are just going to take an adventure to a lot of places today. And I'm not alone here. I have a very good gentleman who's going to take us through that. So our topic for today is tourism and the impact it has in Kenya and all the world. So go to Facebook at Kings TV, enda pale YouTube at Kings Fraternity, enda uone Kenya tutawaletea leo. Leo tutatembea sana. We're going to be walking around the countries. Tutajua venye kuna kwanga. And so, habari yako?
Mzuri sana.
Thank you so much for coming.
Asante.
Unaitwa nani and tell us what you do.
Well, my name is Jafet Nyakundi, Benedicto. I'm an instructor, a tutor, a lecturer, the tourism department at the Institute of Business Studies. And experience-wise, I've been in the tourism industry for over a decade plus, 12 years to be specific. And that is why we need to talk about this tourism.
Thank you so much. That's why I came to you. And so, what is tourism? What is tourism?
Well, tourism, most people actually confuse it or interchange it with travel.
Yeah.
There is a very big difference between travel and tourism.
Yeah.
Tourism is an activity. Activity of a person visiting, staying, or even moving to a place outside their usual environment, either for leisure, for business, or another reason. It could be visiting a friend or a family, going somewhere for health reasons. That is tourism. In short, it is an activity.
It is an activity. And what about travel? Because people confuse tourism and traveling.
Yeah.
So what is travel?
Now, travel has
travel.
or is the physical transportation of a person from one point to another.
To another.
Yeah, people travel either using cars, cruise ships, trains, air transport, that is the aircraft. But that is the physical transportation of a person. But so you realize one thing. I said tourism is an activity of a person traveling to, right? Now, if you look at it, tourism cannot do without travel, but travel can do without tourism. Yeah, that has to come out clear. Because if people travel, they're not going to be traveling just aimlessly, moving around aimlessly. But if you travel with a reason, that is tourism. You need to know why you travel. If it's for business, for leisure, or another reason, that is tourism.
What are the types of tourism?
We've got several. We've got recreational tourism, people going out for some activities here and there. We've got health, what you call health tourism, and so on. There are so many types of tourism. People, in short, business itself, having conferences somewhere, that conferencing is tourism. So, in short, anything you look at people moving to do somewhere, either in that line of business or in that line of leisure, is tourism.
It's tourism. And so, when was tourism developed here in Kenya? In the world?
This can be traced back. As I said, tourism has to do with travel. If you can recall, the first vehicle was introduced in Kenya in 1902, somewhere out there. That is when we started. In short, people were moving using the animal-drawn cars in Mkokoteni, right? And the tuk-tuks were not there by that. But that started a long time ago. But even before that, people still could move, could travel. For example, we used to swim from one river, across the rivers, just to go and do some business. We used to walk. People used to walk, right? You can tell I'm very old. We used to walk long distances, and of course, go to do activities. For example, if I wanted to go and play football somewhere, which is part of tourism nowadays, so I could walk long distances, then go and play my football. If I wanted to do business, I could walk. Right? So where water bodies, for example, could allow people could swim, could use the water rafts or the logs to cross water bodies, as long as they do their business, they meet their friends. So tourism started long before time.
Before time?
A long time.
That's so good. And nowadays in Kenya, it's regarded the top countries where tourism is well developed. Is it true or?
Actually, that is very true. If you talk about the top tourist destinations in Africa, you cannot mention 5 countries without mentioning Kenya and Kenya. If we have to compare Kenya with other African countries, you can put Kenya in a group of South Africa, Algeria, Morocco, Tunisia, and Egypt, right? And of which case, we are so much developed. And you realize that nowadays, if you tell a person somewhere, even if you go to America, there are person that they want to go to Africa to see wild animals. What comes into their mind? Kenya, specifically Masai Mara, right? So these are the things that makes Kenya, or that makes us Kenyans so proud. And of course, it's a natural thing that came from there.
That's so good. So, there have been these cabinet secretaries that are appointed the tourism sector. Have they done good or harm to this tourism department?
I can single out someone called Najib Balala. That guy has done a very good job. In terms of coming up with the tourism policies, making sure that we advertise and market the brand Kenya. You realize that we have what you call magical Kenya nowadays. So he has done much, and he's trying to improve even the recreational side. So many things is done. But nowadays, even if you want to name a certain hyena somewhere in Amboseli, you go to pay, which is good. Pengina, Jafet is hyena inaitwa Inifisi. Now if you put Inifisi in Kenya, it comes. But so if you, even elephants actually, you remember Usain Bolt came to Kenya, named a cheetah after him. Right, Odinga, Baba.
Okay. Today not for safari.
He has good animals in Kenya.
Yeah, not for safari, but just it's all about safaris.
In short, the ministers, the cabinet secretaries, they've done a good job. So we're waiting to see our next cabinet secretary. There are so many recommendations as professionals we can give, but we want to see what they have to do.
Let's take a quick break. We'll be right back as we continue with this cabinet secretary plus some more information. So guys, let's take a very short break. We'll be right back. So guys, welcome back. Bado tunatembea and some comments are coming in. Kuna mmoja anasema thank you so much for differentiating. Yeah, for her, she knew traveling and tourism is the same thing.
Actually, for most people, they know.
Yeah. For more comments too, like they never knew difference traveling and tourism. And so on our topic, we tulikuwa kwa the cabinet secretary. And I said Najib Balala. As in, what has he done that made you praise him so much in the tourism department?
Yeah, there are several things. One thing, as I mentioned, is coming up with the policies.
Which are these policies?
The policies, for example, the branding, TWS, the nature parks and reserves. He has degazetted some, and actually he has improved some. For example, if you go to our Nairobi National Park, he has done a tremendous job where the animal orphanage is now open to every person. When you go for that nature safari walk, nature walk, you can feed the animals. But again, he has made sure that the 56 national parks and reserves in Kenya, they are well maintained. And of course, where the reserve is on a communal land, the communities actually benefit. For example, in Masai Mara, we've got conservancies, which are actually private conservancies. Those people benefit. So he has let the communities benefit. In short, again, he has worked well with devolution. If we have got to look at it, he has allowed people to work with their counties and their counties. They can actually benefit from that. Right. The policies have allowed communities also to grow. For example, in such areas where you've got national parks and reserves, people can come up with some schools, educational centers. You go to Nairobi National Park once again, there's an educational center. Any person can walk in, learn about the history of tourism in Kenya, learn about these things. So, in short, the major thing we can actually remember Balala for is actually the policies.
The policies.
Yeah, and the standards.
Yeah. To my next question,
Yeah.
what percentage of tourism in every year do the government incur? Is there a loss? Is there an injection or withdrawal?
Now, the good thing about tourism, it has no losses. It's so unfortunate that in the past 2 years or 3, we were in a pandemic from 2020. That's when we can say we never used to have that benefit. But it was not a loss because at the end of the day, you see, as I said, tourism is what we have already. People visit the national parks and reserves, right? And by that, it means that the resources still remains, but they remain unused now, right? So we never went for end loss. It's only that the tourism now benefits governments. How? One, tourism offers governments resources in revenue. Governments collect actually what we can call taxes every day. You go to a restaurant, you take a glass of water, there's a VAT. That VAT is a direct source of revenue to governments. Governments, when we go to national parks and reserves, we pay the entrance fee. That entrance fee is a direct source of revenue to governments. Right? Governments use that money to renovate roads, airports, and so on.
On my second last question, what are the disadvantages and advantages of tourism?
The advantages, if we can start with them, this is the first thing. Tourism creates jobs, create millions of jobs. Worldwide, the United States got over 200 million people working at the tourism industry. We've got right now over 500,000 students in tourism, all of which are absorbed into the industry. But again, it creates jobs directly and indirectly. I'll give you an example. Look at an airline like Kenya Airways. It employs people directly, pilots, the ticketing officers, the customer service agents, the cabin crews. That's a direct job. But these airlines, when people fly on board, they are given food. Some fish from Lake Victoria. If Papa was not doing a good job in Lake Victoria, that fish again could be contaminated, alright? So this is the thing. Someone in Kiambu, mwenye anamesha chakula, what happens? That food is also used on board the aircraft. It means there's a very serious chain of supply. Look at another example. You go to the airport, we got the security officers. They're not part of the tourism part. But now the security firms or companies provide that service. In short, tourism creates jobs directly and immediately. Number two, the other benefit of tourism is about this foreign exchange. Right? It helps our country to earn foreign exchange. And the best way to look at foreign exchange is the import and export of people. People move in and out of our country. Right? So when people move in and out of our country, that is the exchange we're talking about. Right? And you realize that we also even tax. Whenever you go to a bank and you want to change your dollar, there's a VAT that has to, and that's another thing. So the millions of jobs, the millions of money that governments collect, there are so many other things, but you cannot actually get out of the benefits without looking at infrastructure. Look at our airport, Jomo Kenyatta International Airport. It's so much improved. When I was young, going to Masai Mara, the roads were not passable actually. Right now, the roads are so smooth. Why? The money that people pay going to Masai Mara, the entrance fee, is used to renovate such roads. There are so many schools, so many, what you can call Visima, some other places where people can actually get their resources back. Alright. So there are so many things that happen that benefit the government, the local people, and of course the foreigners. So there are so many benefits. The disadvantage of tourism, if you look at it from a distance angle, because of that foreign exchange, there is what we call for example, civilization. People tend to change. We say that we are Western civilized, for example, but that comes under what you can call some kind of cultural tourism, where if we try to imitate the other people who come to our country, then we forget our cultures, right? For example, I can say I don't eat this and that. I don't eat ndizi because I'm coming from Kisii. I don't eat fish because I'm coming from Baba's background.
Yeah.
So, but now what happens is we try to eat pizza from Italy. We forget eating our own mokimo, broccoli, and these other things. So tourism sometimes can make us forget our cultures, which is not right. We should actually. You've reminded me another thing.
Yeah.
The same minister of Balala came up with some days where we should enjoy and celebrate our cultures.
Yeah,
He came up with
cultural day, which
Yes.
is on the next month. That's when it was Moi Day now.
Yeah, exactly. So he's now taking us back. Hey, this tourism we are celebrating today has its own negative effects. We are forgetting where we come from. So let's go back and enjoy eating this. Welcome. I'll prepare.
Okay, and my last question, what contribution of tourism has impacted the growth of tourists to come to Kenya? What is the major contribution of tourists in Kenya?
Now, there's so many.
Yeah.
There's so many. One, are the natural resources. As I said, we've got 29 national parks and 26 national reserves. We used to have 2 game sanctuaries, Maralal and Kisumu Impala, but now Maralal is degazetted. So we've got only Kisumu Impala sanctuary. So those parks, reserves, sanctuaries, they actually make tourists come to Kenya the most. That is the first thing, especially Masai Mara, when from July to October you've got the wild beast migration, the 8th one of the world. You've got over 2 million animals migrating. Everybody wants to see that. You sit somewhere for 1 month, you see 2 million animals migrating.
So to another question, the 8 wonders of the world, what is that?
Now, these are some of the features that makes the world look outstanding, that are so unusual. For example, what I said, the wild beast migration is so unusual to explain to someone that 2 million animals migrate from Serengeti in Tanzania to Kenya for food, for mating, and for some other things. 2, there's what you call the English Channel, the Tunnel Channel in Europe. It's never easy to tell someone that you can travel from Paris to London by train faster, quickly, than you can use air transport. It's not easy to explain that, but that is made possible because of that wonder. The other thing, look at the Great Wall of China, for example. From the moon, you can see it from on a clear sky. So there are so many other wonders which we can talk about, but they are so outstanding. In Kenya, we can only be so proud of what we have, the wild beast migration.
Wild beast migration. Another question. What do you want the government to do in the tourism department that they have not done in the recent years? You have been in your field of expertise.
Now, what I want. Listen, this is the first thing. As much as we say that tourism has made the infrastructure grow, if you go to some countries, air transport is so much developed. Right? In Kenya, we prefer using our roads. It's not because we prefer, it is because it's expensive. So if we can reduce, number one, a government policy should actually aim at reducing the taxes levied on passengers, air travel. Number 2, I will want to have an airport in every region. Right now we've got airports in Mombasa, Lamu, Malindi, Kisumu, Eldoret, Nairobi. We've got 2, Wilson and Desert. But what if we expand the country? Let's have one in Baba's background, Homa Bay.
Okay.
So that we can always the airstrips should be upgraded, right? So that if we make it that way, then people can be able to move from one point to the other. Number 3, what I like to have is just a revisit of the policies once again, especially going to the national parks and reserves, right? Let's have some days where maybe 1 or 2 days in a year where people can be allowed to get into the national parks freely, fast. Let's create awareness of what we have so that we can encourage domestic tourism. So those are some of the things I would like the government to do besides, and of course to reduce the taxes, the VATs and the other things.
Thank you so much for coming.
Alright.
You have educated a lot. So like in a few words, you can give your handles and say something about tourism,
Alright.
and also you can market your department.
Well, thank you so much for having me, and it's been a pleasure talking about tourism, one of the major backbones of this country.
Yeah.
Let me start with my handles. Facebook, Twitter. No, I don't use Twitter. Which other? Yeah, TikTok. No, I don't use
It's okay.
Facebook. Jafet Walter Benedicto. And of course, you're welcome to the tourism department, Hans Institute of Business Studies, where we talk about the same things and so much more.
So in tourism, do you have like diploma in tourism, or how do you go about it?
Now, this is what we have. First, what we offer at the Hans Institute, 3 different courses and some short courses. We've got the diploma in travel and tourism, the diploma in tour guiding and administration, if you want to know so much about now the places you say 5 national parks and reserves, and taking guides. But it's not just that. If you have to take me somewhere, you've got to know what we have there. If you find, for example, we teach you, if a snake bites you, what do you do? So you've got to know what kind of snake. So we teach you all those things. And number 3, we've got the cabin crews, the air hostesses. We train all those things. All of them are diplomas, but someone can opt to go for a certificate. So we've got certificates and diplomas in all the courses. And our intake is ongoing. It's in progress.
Thank you so much for coming. And guys, as you have heard, he has explained a lot of in tourism. He has also asked people to come and join his department, and we have got to learn a lot. So from my guest and I here, it's the end of our show. Thank you so much for listening. You have learned about the gross product the Kenya gets, which is 10%. You have been able to be taught around the great wonders of the world. You have been able to know what the cabinet secretaries have done, also to barbers. And we have come to the end of our show. Today it was just discussion, going through adventure. You have discussed about adventure. You have gone through places that I never knew. So with me, it's Margaret Mwangi. We have come to the end. Go to Facebook at Kings TV. Go to YouTube at Kings Fraternity. Follow our content there, and we'll get to know more next. This is not the end of. He's going to come also. We are going to talk more on tourism. So from my guest here and I, bye bye. See you next place next time.